Hello and welcome to TheBlockBusters, a podcast about the wonderful world of cinema and TV, about the movies and shows we love, no matter how big, no matter how small. My name is Rado and I'm here, I would want to say with Conor, but I'm actually here on my own, as both of us, myself and Conor, have been very busy with the daily life, like becoming a father or becoming a homeowner. So it's been difficult to find time for such things as recording a podcast together or even watching a film sometimes. But don't worry, we will be back in the near future. Hold on tight. But in the meantime, I decided to use this space to release something special. An interview. Ooh, yes. So from the 13th of August, viewers in the cinemas in the UK and Northern Ireland can watch new movie by Michel Franco, director and writer, Mexican filmmaker who has been known for his award-winning movies like After Lucia or Chronic, and the latter one starring Tim Roth in one of his best performances of his career. His new film is called New Order, Nuevo Orden. I'm practicing my Spanish here. This is a film that is set up during a lavish high society wedding that unexpectedly turns into a class struggle that leads to a violent coup. This is a riveting, suspenseful, dystopian film as seen through the eyes of sympathetic young bride and the servants who work for and against the wealthy family. New Order breathlessly traces the collapse of one political system as a more harrowing replacement springs up in its wake. This film premiered last year during Film Festival in Venice and it was awarded Grand Jury Prize. It's an incredible film and I recommend you to find it and watch it. But don't take my word for it, because I had a chance to talk to the director along a few other journalists in Venice. Franco was quite open about the struggles he went through to make this film. He talked about his personal experiences that inspired it and about hopes for wider release in his home country. There will be some minor spoilers in the interview if you care about those things, so please mind. And apologies for the sound quality, as this was recorded in a very noisy outside area bar with the wind blowing in the microphone and people drinking coffee, tea, and so on. But I hope you enjoy it. Let's go.
Un brindis por los novios. Que se anima. ¿Qué quieren?
Hijo, no regresen. Escúchame, no regresen.
¡Mamá!
Atención a todos los ciudadanos. Este es un aviso oficial.
Papá,
Tienen 1 hora y media para realizar sus actividades.
Estoy bien, pero manden lo que les piden.
Por favor, mantengan la calma y sigan las instrucciones.
hey amigo, ¿qué busca aquí?
Necesito salir al hospital.
No puede salir de su casa, señor.
So Michel, start maybe from telling us about the title of the film.
The title has to do with the... I was worried about the film finding wide audiences worldwide. I didn't want the movie to be only Mexican story or a regional. So I figured that name made sense in that way, but also because I guess it's a bit cynical. It's a new order, but it's only worse than what we had before. When the movie begins, things work in a way that's close to reality, and then this new order, it's new, but it's worse. And I'm always afraid of this. A change is not necessarily always for good.
So you said you would like this film to reach wider audience.
I'd like to. If you make a serious movie about matter like this, it shouldn't be necessarily easy to watch. When I go watch a movie, I want to be provoked, I want to be moved. And I think the only way, I think film should be a lot more than entertainment.
You're presenting dystopian society, but how much is it taken from reality?
Hopefully it's all real in terms of how people behave and how, how they are and how they relate to each other. That should be real. Then of course it's dystopic because what I portray in the movie might, I hope, will never happen. Then again, you look back into recent history and Latin America, South America, and other, everywhere. There's been dictatorships and military taking over and imposing an order. So it's dystopic only because it's set on the near future, and this has never happened in Mexico and hopefully will not. But should feel real, hopefully.
Without spoiling the movie too much, a lot of people will find the ending quite upsetting.
I think in order to make a serious movie about this subject matter, I think it would, finding a hopeful ending just to be less severe or to not be, as tough with the audience or for whatever reason, it would be fake. It would mean betraying the movie. I think in order to talk about this, we need and to keep a good level of reflection of discussion, it has to be like that. And to me, hope should come after watching the movie. If we think, let's make some changes, then that's the hope. But it's not within the story, of course.
I think the ending hits so hard because Marianne is such a likable person. She's a good-hearted person as well. Was it so important for you to portray her this way as a kind person, opposite to the others from the same group?
It's good to be able to find at least someone you can relate to, but it's not only her. Marta and Christian, the people who work at the house, are also, they do everything right, and then it hits back in the most negative way. So it's at least three characters that are trying to go in the right direction. Now, Marianne is very naive, and trying to be good or to do the right thing is not good enough. You need to do better than that, unfortunately.
You're also trying to say that money can't buy you everything, is that right?
Thanks for saying that. That's so important. Something that frustrates me in Mexico, people want to buy security, The country might be going wrong. It's okay. Let's have 3 personal security people, Many rich guys in Mexico are driven by armed, by bodyguards. One day they'll just turn against you. It's, you can't buy peace of mind and you can't buy security. It doesn't make any sense.
You touch on the subject of kidnapping for money in Mexico, and I heard that is something you experience yourself.
I was kidnapped when I was 20 years old. It was we call it express kidnap, which is, in itself like a joke. No, not a joke, like come on, express kidnap. So I was taken for a ride a full night, and of course I thought I was gonna die, and it made a big impression on me. But many people I know have been kidnapped, or I've been going. Has any of you have been,
Had I gone against you?
Yeah.
No.
Me, a few times.
Oh.
It's ridiculous. And we end up thinking, well, it's part of life, Did they shoot? No, so it's, it's not so bad. Living like that, it's and we got used to it. You get used to the worst, and you accept it as normal.
This film is set in the upper middle class society in Mexico City. What kind of neighborhood do you live in?
Posh neighborhood. Me? Yeah. No, I'm part of that privileged bubble, of course. and I know it well. That's why I like not criticizing. No, I'm not, pointing at it. I'm not judging them. I'm part of that. We're all part of the problem, but of course this privileged class could make the change, and we're doing nothing to improve things. It's not very hard. I mean, it's part of my country and my reality, and I'd have to be blind not to understand it to a certain extent. But I didn't want to say like, oh, this, to be sympathetic in a fake way, like just saying, oh, these poor people, you know what I mean? So I try to put myself in their position. And if I was living that kind of life, I would take part in violence for sure.
Wedding scenes are very important in the history of cinema. Godfather and so on. You've got another big wedding scene there. What was the thought like? When did you come up with this concept of having pretty much everything like concentrating around this wedding?
If this guy would have arrived on a regular day, things would happen. It would be less interesting. But I think to show how selfish these people we are, by leading our lives without thinking of what's surrounding us. A wedding is a perfect scenario for this because, even the woman, the mother says, come back tomorrow, this is such a complicated day. Come on, the wife is dying and you're saying it's such, because my... And then I also wanted to show how they use the wedding for their corrupt deals, which is absolutely normal. They make a wedding to show how wealthy they are, to show the new house, and to have this crooked politician. So I think it's a good opportunity to show their true colors.
When you're talking about colors, I was kind of thinking about it very long, but the green is represented obviously by the kind of poor society.
The what?
You've got the green color,
Si.
so it represents the poorer society. You've got Marianne dressed in red,
the poor,
right?
the dissatisfied, I would say.
Yeah. So you got Marianne dressed in red,
See,
and then you have the colors of the flag.
Yeah.
And that is not a coincidence, I would assume.
No, of course not. No. I'd like to think I'm a very patriotic person. I am. And I think I know many people will think otherwise, but when you truly love your country, and when it hurts, when it hurts the reality people are living under, you gotta talk about it. You gotta, how do you say, open the subject and talk about it openly. To me, this is a patriotic act, even though many people will think otherwise, but I don't care about that.
Was it easy to get this film made? It does look expensive for an independent production.
No, it was a huge challenge because I wrote, directed and produced the movie, and I didn't have the right budget. People gave me money to shoot the movie, a limited amount of money. And they said, it's because we trust you, not because we trust the movie. Nobody understood what I wanted to shoot, and they had a hard time believing when I told the story, and I said, I'm gonna close all the main avenues, and they're gonna be full of dead people, and it's gonna be like this, and the choppers, and people, and the wedding, because the wedding is expensive. People were saying this guy lost his mind. Because directors often are pretentious, you want to make the big movie that never, so then you have like those stories, those movies that you don't even end the shooting, and everybody thought it was going to be a disaster. But to me the challenge was, I know I won't gather more money, because the only way to gather more money is to make a bullshit positive story, and I wouldn't want to do that. Because the whole point is to arrive to that ending. So it was a challenge. Not to handle the big budget, to do it without the big budget, and to have 3,000 extras, and to do everything that I had to do. I'm glad you think it's expensive. It was my longest process. And also I was hoping to find more money. And when I realized I wasn't going to gather a better budget, I still had to say I'll do it. And I remember talking to my friends who make movies, and they all said, it's gonna go wrong. Gather more money. But I'm used to it.
What are the expectations you have about this film being shown to the public, for example, in Mexico?
If cinemas were open, I directly play. The distributor now loves the movie. They gave me money to shoot it, so they were committed, but they gave me a small amount of money. But once they saw it, they went crazy for it. They love it, and they said, let's put it out in 2,000 screens. They think it's really commercial, and I love that idea. If that happens, then the whole point of making the movie is worth it, because that's what should happen. Otherwise, what's the point of making a movie trying to shake things up? It only works if you find the audience. Otherwise, it's just an intellectual act on my behalf, and I'm not interested in that.
Are you afraid that some people will find it too brutal to watch?
It's not an exploitation movie in that way, and it would have been so easy to go there, and a lot more shocking. But I knew that actually, to me the how to manage violence was if I overdo it, not overdo it, but if I cross the limit that I thought was a limit, I would lose the audience, because then you say, oh, this guy is torturing me. It should be violent enough so we feel and we understand it's real, but it shouldn't abuse the audience. I don't know if it makes sense to you. Of course, but you watch Salò de Pasolini, which is a very different film. That movie is meant to, or even The Clockwork Orange is a lot more violent. I think the reason why this feels so violent is because it's threatening us. It's close to it could happen, but I don't think it's that. Yes, they shoot the mother in the head, but we're not seeing that. We see the aftermath. Violence and it's abused in films today, I think, and TV series and all that. But it's portrayed in a non-realistic way, so you don't mind seeing 100 people killed in a movie. But this is even when she's treating the nurse like a maid and saying, "Go clean that." That's super violent. There's no respect. The characters don't respect each other. And they don't learn anything throughout the movie.
And that's it. That was Michel Franco, director and writer of the film New Order. New Order is available in selected cinemas across the UK and Northern Ireland, and will be available on Mubi streaming platform from September the 10th. So now I'm gonna go back to babysitting. Conor is gonna go back to painting, and we both thank you so much for listening. Subscribe, as always, rate and comment on our show. Recommend our rants to your friends, to your enemies. They all deserve a little bit of blockbusters. Check out our website for episodes, TheBlockBusters.net. Our theme music is by Scott Holmes, and you can find more of his work at scottholmesmusic.com. Artwork was beautifully created by Conor Boyle, and Rado, myself, edited the episode. Our podcast is available on the following platforms: Apple Podcast, Overcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Castbox, Pocket Cast, Amazon Music, pretty much whenever you find your podcasts. Until the next time, I am saying goodbye from myself and from Conor. Take care. Bye.